A top tag team choosing WWE over AEW, a controversial WWE return, Hendry returns to NXT, and more. I'm Luke Owen, and this is the WrestleTalk News.
Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe.
Back in January, Impact Wrestling successfully rebranded itself back to its TNA name, and although went through a few weeks of tumultuous bad news following the firing of Scott D'Amore, the man credited for much of TNA's successful rebranding, it now feels like the company is as hot as it was in that 2007 to 2010 period due to its partnership with NXT. But it wasn't just D'Amore that left shortly into the rebrand, as it was reported that longtime TNA tag team, the Motor City Machine Guns, were finishing up with the promotion. Both Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin are also former TNA World Heavyweight Champions and thought to be cornerstones of the promotion, having been there since those early hot days in the mid-2000s. The two have also been credited for changing the tag team game. Many of the world's best tag teams currently working have taken their cues from the work that Shelley and Sabin did in TNA, Ring of Honor, and various indie promotions around the world. Fun fact about me, they were among the first bits of wrestling merchandise I ever bought. Here's a picture of me wearing my Motor City Machine Guns t-shirt at a TNA house show in 2008. And if you zoom out a little bit more, you'll see I'm holding the TNA Tag Team Championships. And if you zoom out a little bit further, that's me with former TNA President Dixie Carter. I was a big TNA mark. Back in April, Cassidy Haynes of Bodyslam reported that Shelley and Sabin, now that they were free agents, were finalizing a deal with All Elite Wrestling. The pair have a long-standing on-screen rivalry with the Young Bucks dating back to both their times in TNA, and even featured on AEW's All Out 2022, teaming with Jay Lethal in a losing effort to the pinnacle of FTR and Wardlow. And we all remember that, of course, because there's nothing else about All Out 2022 that overshadowed the wrestling. Haynes wrote in April, "I can now confirm that the Motor City Machine Guns are headed to AEW. Sources have told me that AEW and the Motor City Machine Guns are working on finalizing a deal. It was noted that the deal is not going to be finalized for a bit. However, the decision has been made and a deal will be worked out." Well, it's now July, and there hasn't been any Motor City Machine Guns debut in AEW nor any other bits of news coming out about them, which is why PWN's recent report that the pair might instead be heading to WWE all the more interesting. PWN, who recently reported the news of the women's mid-card titles in WWE, posted on Twitter on July 6th that Shelley and Sabin have been in talks with WWE. Fightful Select have since reported, while we can't confirm that Motor City Machine Guns have signed anywhere, we have heard that there had been conversations between them and major companies. While Sabin has never wrestled with WWE, Shelley had a brief cameo in NXT, reuniting his Time Splitters tag team with Kushida during the 2020 Dusty Classic, losing in the first round to the grizzled young veterans. Alex Shelley has also posted on Instagram that he is seemingly done with his indie dates, which has led to the speculation that the pair are indeed heading to WWE over All Elite Wrestling. However, PWN noted on Twitter whether they end up in WWE or AEW is still up in the air. There has been nothing further told to us yet. This seems to be the end of their indie run though. What do you think? Where would you like to see the Motor City Machine Guns end up, in AEW or WWE, where if they go to NXT, they would hilariously be working with TNA again? And speaking of that NXT-TNA partnership, the last few months of NXT have seen various TNA crossovers, with Frankie Kazarian featuring in the Battle Royal, Jordan Grace challenging for the NXT Women's Championship at Battleground, and of course, say his name and he appears, Joe Hendry. Thank you. And one of the cameos that many expected to take place took place last night. Last month, Wesley was attacked backstage by Gallus, meaning that he needed some backup. This led to fan speculation that this would be how his former Rascalz teammates of Zachary Wentz and Trey Miguel would make their steps through the NXT Prohibited portal. However, NXT announced that Lee would be teaming with New Catch Republic, and reports from the Times said this was done to squash those Rascalz reunion rumors. But on last night's NXT, we got just that. After opening up about his loss to Obafemi at Heatwave, Lee teased the idea of leaving NXT entirely, until he was interrupted by his former Rascalz teammates, and Wentz and Miguel came out to reunite their group. They later had a segment with Gallus to set up a six-man tag for next week's show. When it was first rumored that the Rascalz might cameo in NXT, many pointed out that the likelihood of this was low, given how Zachary Wentz was the former Nash Carter in WWE and he was released under controversial circumstances. Carter and Lee were the tag team MSK in NXT in 2020, even winning the NXT Tag Team Championships twice, but that second title reign was shortened in 2022 when Carter's ex-wife, Kimberly, posted allegations of domestic abuse and even posted a photo of him dressing up as Adolf Hitler with Nazi imagery. Carter was released from WWE and went back to TNA under his Zachary Wentz name. He was scheduled to be DLC for WWE 2K22, but that was removed following his release. Since then, Kimberly has spoken out about her struggles during this time period, speaking with Piers Austin that she was struggling with alcoholism, her bipolar disorder, and the death of her friend Daphne. She also showed some regret for getting Wentz fired, saying, "Were the consequences he had to face because of some of the stuff I did pretty shitty? Yeah. Again, like I said, I should have behaved differently. I fully admit that." AEW's MJF has also called out Kimberly for her actions. And this might be why, when reporting about the Rascalz coming in for last night's NXT show, Fightful Select reported WWE's stance on Wentz appearing had softened well over a year ago. Wentz is also dating NXT's Gigi Dolan, who posted an emoji on Twitter about his NXT return. But Wentz and Miguel were not the only NXT cameos from TNA on last night's show. After going viral for his brief cameo in the NXT Battle Royal a few weeks ago, it had been reported that WWE were interested in bringing in Joe Hendry back for more appearances. Fightful Select reported recently that the plan was to feature Hendry heavily on NXT shows over the next few weeks and months. And on last night's NXT, Joe Hendry was the surprise tag partner for Trick Williams to take on Team ex-AEW of Ethan Page and Shawn Spears. Hendry picked up the win over Spears after Page bailed when he was chased out by Meta-4. Hendry will also be part of a six-way match for the TNA World Championship at Slammiversary with Moose, Frankie Kazarian, Nick Nemeth, Steve Macklin, and Josh Alexander. Joe Hendry wasn't the only one to return to WWE this week, as Rhea Ripley made her long-awaited return to WWE following the injury she picked up shortly after WrestleMania. The clip of Ripley's return has now passed 2 million views on YouTube. And what will be a surprise to basically no one, PW Insider are reporting that Ripley is now officially listed as a babyface on WWE's internal reports, which was not the case leading into WrestleMania. Speaking of Judgment Day, Fightful Select report that Carlito is officially not part of the group, as he is not listed on WWE's internal documents with the faction. Lastly, from the notes from this past Monday's Raw, and Pat McAfee returned to commentary this week after taking a few weeks off to be with his family. And it didn't take long for Pat to do Pat things, as during the broadcast he called Bron Breakker a brick house, fully swearing on commentary, which needed to be censored by the USA Network. While many thought that this would get him in trouble, Fightful Select report there wasn't any heat on Pat McAfee for the Brick S-House line about Bron Breakker. Fightful also noted that not only did the line get a chuckle from Gorilla Position, there was even a joke that they can't wait to go to Netflix. Man, Pat's lips will be loose when they go to Netflix and there's less restrictions. And speaking of the commentary team for WWE, and the New York Post revealed yesterday that veteran ESPN voice Joe Tessitore. Teeth and the lips. And speaking of the commentary team for WWE and the New York Post reported yesterday that veteran ESPN voice Joe Tessitore was set to join WWE. Got there in the end. Hilariously, the Post didn't know which brand, Raw or SmackDown, he'd be joining, just that he'd be leading a three-man booth with Corey Graves and Wade Barrett. So SmackDown then. The New York Post also noted this was something of a full circle moment, as Tessitore was a former media client of current WWE president Nick Khan. He also reportedly has a great relationship with Triple H and is a lifelong wrestling fan. WWE later confirmed the news and confirmed that he would be taking over as the lead commentator of a three-man booth with Graves and Barrett. Graves had previously stepped up into the lead commentator role following the departure of Kevin Patrick, and fans were quick to praise him for how well he transitioned from color commentary to lead announcer, which is not an easy task. WWE also confirmed in that press release that Michael Cole and Pat McAfee will remain a commentary team. And while I made a joke about SmackDown earlier, WWE's own press release doesn't specifically state that the three-man booth will be on SmackDown or Raw, or if Michael Cole or Pat McAfee will be moving back to the blue brand. But today is the day. Today is the day where I finally prove once and for all that Steiner Maths is a better promo than the CM Punk pipe bomb on our new debate show over on Parts Unknown. We are doing this live, so click the link below to either get ready for it or watch it unfold live or watch the on-demand version, depending on when you're watching this video. I am going to do a huge debate all over Ollie Davis. Massive it is, a mass debate if you will, and I will handily win. So click the video on screen right now to see that unfold.